Welcome to the One Family Podcast, where we encourage and equip families for the marriage and parenting journey. Each week, we share practical insights and real-life encouragement to help you strengthen relationships, navigate challenges with confidence, and build a home where love and connection thrive. One of the greatest joys in parenting is when your child invites you into their private world. These are special and precious moments. They often come to us in quiet, unexpected, and easy-to-miss ways. But they can become some of the most important moments in your relationship with your child. So today, we're going to talk about what exactly is the private world. How does it develop and grow with your children? How do children invite you into their private world? And how can you nurture trust so those invitations keep coming?
What exactly is the private world? Generally speaking, it's the place within each of us where we hold our deepest thoughts, treasured memories, and most valuable feelings. It's the essence of who we are. It's where our fears live, where our dreams take shape, and our identity begins to form. For adults, this private world is usually something we share with our spouse or closest friends. But for children, especially early in life, parents are often the first people invited into the private world. That's one of the greatest privileges and joys of parenting. And here's something fascinating. Research in developmental psychology suggests that this private world actually begins forming early in life. As young as 2 to 4 years old, children begin developing self-awareness. They start recognizing that they are individuals with their own thoughts and feelings. You might hear things like, "That's mine. I do it myself. I'm sad." These are early signs that a child is beginning to understand their inner world. By ages 5 to 7, children begin to understand that thoughts can be private, that what they are thinking is not automatically known by others. This is when you might start hearing things like, "Don't tell anyone. Can I tell you something special?" These are early invitations into their private world. By ages 8 to 11, their inner life becomes more complex. They begin comparing themselves to peers and forming deeper self-concepts. This is when they start asking identity questions like, "Do you think I'm smart? Do you think people like me? Am I good at this?" These questions are not just casual. They are windows into their private world. Then, during adolescence, around 12 to 14, children begin exploring identity more intentionally. They start asking, "Who am I? Where do I belong? What do people think of me?" And by 15 to 18, their inner world becomes even richer. They begin wrestling with their values, beliefs, relationships, and purpose. And here's the important part. As children grow and develop this inner life, their private world takes shape and they decide who they will invite into it.
One of the most important things to understand is this. The private world is invitation only. As much as we might wish for an all-access pass into our child's thoughts and feelings, it just doesn't work that way. Because the private world is deeply personal and vulnerable, access must be earned. Communication researchers describe this process as gradual self-disclosure, where deeper layers of thought and feelings are shared only with people who demonstrate trustworthiness and care over time. In other words, trust opens the door, and how we respond to our child's invitations determines whether that door stays open. The interesting thing is that invitations into your child's private world rarely come in big, dramatic moments. Instead, they come in very small ways oftentimes. Think back to when you first started dating your spouse. Remember those early conversations? The ones where you slowly shared more and more about your life? Well, that's how the private world works, and your child does the same thing. They might ask, "Do you think I'm smart? Do you think I'm pretty? Why doesn't my friend want to play with me?" These questions seem small, but they're actually deeper searches for reassurance about identity, belonging, and self-worth. They're small windows into your child's private world. And research on family relationships shows something important. Children are far more likely to keep parents inside their private world when parents respond to these moments with calmness, curiosity, and emotional safety. How we respond to small invitations today often determines whether those invitations continue later in life.
If you feel like you may be missing some private world moments with your child, here are a few things to think about. Are your words typically encouraging and loving, or are you quick-tempered and critical? Are you speaking their love language? How often are you speaking their love language? Are you them-oriented, or are you too busy and self-focused? Are you approachable? Are you actively looking for the private world moments? It might seem obvious, but think about this. Would you open your private world to someone who's harsh, self-centered, or emotionally unavailable? Probably not, and neither will your child. Because a person's private world is so valuable, we must handle those moments with great care. How we respond often determines whether we'll be trusted again. Here are 5 ways to nurture trust when your child invites you into their private world.
Number 1, guard your tongue and your tone. Nothing closes off a private world faster than a quick negative reaction. Sometimes the invitation comes surprisingly or with difficult information. Your child might say something that catches you off guard. Well, it's in those moments we need to pause, take a breath, and open your heart. Your tone matters. Your facial expression matters. Your first reaction matters. Your response teaches your child whether it's safe to share again.
Number 2, listen for what is really being said. Often there's another layer beneath their words. A child might say, "I hate school," but what they really could be saying is, "I'm feeling left out. I'm struggling. I'm embarrassed." Careful listening helps you hear what's beneath the surface. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do, mom and dad, is just listen.
Number 3, resist the urge to fix. When someone shares their private world, our instinct is oftentimes to fix the problem. We want to solve it. But most of the time, what your child needs most is simply to be heard. Effective listening communicates, "You matter. I care. I'm here for you." If they want advice, they'll ask.
Number 4, be disruptible. Private world moments rarely happen on your schedule. They might come at very inconvenient times when you're busy, tired, or distracted. But being disruptible means being willing to pause what you're doing and give your child your full attention. You never know when the next opportunity will come again. And sometimes these interruptions become the most meaningful moments in our parenting.
Lastly, and number 5, reciprocate with appropriate vulnerability. Sharing parts of your own life deepens trust. You might share a childhood memory, a mistake that you had made, a lesson that you learned, or a fear that you once had and overcame. When you share your own private world appropriately, you create a safe space for your child to share theirs. Remember, vulnerability invites vulnerability.
When Rich and I first learned about the concept of the private world, it was more than 15 years ago in a parenting class. But over time, we realized something important. This principle applies far beyond parenting. It applies in marriage, in friendships, sibling relationships, and family relationships. When we handle someone's private world with care, relationships deepen. So be on the lookout for private world moments. They might come during bedtime, in the car, while playing catch in the backyard, or in a quiet moment when your child asks a simple question. When those moments come, handle them with care, with gratitude, and attentiveness. Because those invitations are opportunities to deepen the relationships that matter the most. And one of the greatest privileges in parenting is being trusted with your child's private world. Thank you for joining us today on the One Family Podcast. If this episode encouraged you, we'd love for you to share it with another parent or family member. And don't forget to follow us so you don't miss future episodes. Remember to reach out to us too with your questions about this topic or anything else related to the marriage and parenting journey. Our hope is to begin sharing some of those questions anonymously as a segment in future episodes. The best way to reach us is via email at info@onefamilyhwl.org. Until next time, be encouraged, be intentional, and keep building strong families, one private world conversation at a time.